This hot new health trend is ice cold. Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English lesson number 583 for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. The full lesson, including the transcript, is online at plainenglish.com/583. At Plain English, we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. You learn about the world, you learn some English, but the really nice thing is that I also learn about the world while I make the episodes. It's a win-win, and this is one of those episodes where I learn a lot. I had no idea this was a trending topic, but here we go. You can do it at a spa or a wellness center. You can do it in your fancy condo building. If you're willing to invest, you can do it in your backyard. If you're not willing to invest, you might be able to do it in a public park for part of the year. Celebrities and average Joes are doing it. It's a cold plunge, submerging yourself in very cold water improves your concentration, your blood flow, your sleep, and more, its practitioners say. Just researching today's lesson is making me cold. You might want to grab a blanket as you listen. In the second half, I'm serious, I'm cold just thinking about it. In the second half of the lesson, I'll show you how to use the English idiom if all else fails, and JR has a song of the week. Here we go. Whether you call it a cold plunge, an ice bath, or its more scientific name, cold water immersion, one thing is clear. This ice-cold activity is red hot. Athletes, actors, business executives, and let's not forget, average Joes and Janes are taking the plunge and sitting voluntarily in very, very cold water. We'll call it a cold plunge. Here's what it is. You put your body into water that's 15 degrees Celsius or colder for an extended time. There are many ways to do it. Luxury health centers and spas have circulating cold tubs with powerful jets. Others are simply pools of very cold water. You can dump ice in your bathtub if you like. If you live in a cold weather place, you can jump in a lake or an ocean. A cold shower also counts. Professional athletes have long used cold tubs to relax their muscles and improve their recovery after games and competitions. Alternating between piping hot saunas and ice-cold baths is a tradition in Finland. Human texts going back thousands of years have touted the benefits of cold. But now the trend is spreading as the health benefits of cold water exposure are more widely understood. Here's what experts and practitioners say are the benefits of cold water immersion. First, it relieves muscle soreness and joint pain. This is why athletes have used cold baths for years. If you've run a marathon or just had a strenuous week at work or in the gym, your muscles will thank you for sitting in a cold tub. Studies have shown that cold water therapy reduces fatigue and muscle soreness over the long run too. But if your goal is to build muscle, be careful. Cold water can impede muscle growth, so be careful if that's your goal. Another benefit, it improves your mood. Subjectively, people who do cold plunges like it. They report feeling better and more energetic. There's a reason for that. Cold water changes the release of hormones in your body. Cold water therapy is also said to boost your immune system, reduce stress, and increase your metabolism. Finally, and I don't doubt this, it builds mental discipline. Sitting in cold water is uncomfortable, but that's the point. You get used to being in a state of discomfort. That builds your mental strength so you can more easily deal with stress in other parts of your life. So if you're convinced you should try cold plunging, I'm not, but if you are, then here's how it works. You should start gradually. Beginners shouldn't expose themselves to too much cold too early. Start at the higher end of the temperature range, about 15 degrees Celsius. Get in the water for just 1 to 2 minutes at a time, once or twice a week. See how your body responds. Then you can gradually increase the intensity of your cold therapy. You have a few levers to pull. You can lower the temperature and increase the time you spend in the water. Just find the sweet spot that works best for you. If you dare, you can work your way down to 10 degrees Celsius. Some research shows that 11 minutes per week is the right amount of time for most people. You can break your plunges into 3 or 4 sessions per week. Diehards find a way to do a cold plunge daily. But be careful. Like strenuous exercise, cold plunges put your body under stress. Too much, and you'll do more damage than good. Don't tell that to some extreme practitioners, though. In Chicago, some hardy souls jump into frigid Lake Michigan in the winter. Others seek out even colder Arctic climates for a more intense rush. Even if you're not that crazy, you might still want to try it. So where can you do it? Spas and health centers often now have cold plunges. If you've never done one before, that might be your best bet. They're now a popular new amenity at high-end condominium buildings if you're lucky enough to live in one of those. Got a big backyard? Homeowners can buy a cold plunge that's like a hot tub, only for cold water. The water in these is chilled with a slab of ice on the bottom. Prices range from about $15,000 to $50,000 or more. But there are ways to do it on the cheap. A product called the Ice Pod is like a backyard plastic swimming pool, but for ice plunges. It's portable and insulated like a person-sized, soft-sided cooler. Fill it with water, dump the ice in, and enjoy. They say you can do it in an apartment. I'm not sure about that, but it would definitely fit in a garage. If you live in a cold weather place, you can just find the nearest swimmable body of water. And if all else fails, you can just take a cold shower to get at least some of the benefits of cold water therapy. No thanks. They say beginners should start with just a very short amount of time in the water, like 1 or 2 minutes. I have news for you. 1 minute is not a short amount of time in 15-degree water. I got a free pass to a spa a few months ago, and they had a cold plunge, and I went into the cold water long enough to submerge myself up to my shoulders, and I immediately got out. That was maybe 10 seconds. Now, I grew up in a cold weather place in New England in the northeast of the US, and I lived for 15 years in Chicago, one of the coldest big cities in America. But I can't do this. This is just crazy. I need my shower water to be hot enough to cook pasta in. Today's expression is if all else fails. All else. This doesn't sound normal, but trust me, it's a really common thing to say. This is an idiom. You have to use it just like this. Don't change it at all. If all else fails. We use this in a situation where there are multiple options, multiple ways we can do something, and all of the good options are eliminated for some reason. So you have to use the last option, the final alternative. If all else fails means if every other good option is unavailable for some reason, or if we have tried everything else and nothing else works, then we'll do X, our least favorite option. Getting a good breakfast in Chicago can be hard at 10 or 11 in the morning on a Sunday if the weather is nice. Imagine you're with your friends and you want to go to brunch. But you know what happens at that time? Crowds, lines, waiting lists. You're with your friends and you're talking about where to go. You each have an idea for a place, but it's possible that they'll all be full. But you know this neighborhood, and you know there's a diner that always has availability. It's not the most popular place. It's not on the blogs or on TikTok, but they reliably serve eggs and potatoes and hot coffee. Where I used to live, it was a place called West River Cafe. Not glamorous at all, but they had good pancakes, good eggs, and hot coffee. So I might have said this in this situation. I might have said, Okay, we'll try the first 2 or 3 places, those places we really want to go. But if all else fails, we'll go to West River Cafe. All else fails here means if our first option is too crowded, if at our second option there's a line out the door, if our third option has a 45-minute wait, if all else fails, if all our other options are eliminated, then we'll go to West River Cafe. Let's transition from hot coffee to cold water. You listen to today's lesson, and let's imagine, this isn't hard to imagine, but let's imagine that you're braver than I am, and you want to work a cold plunge into your daily routine. There are lots of ways to get a cold plunge, so how are you going to do it? Let's say you don't live in an expensive condominium building with a cold plunge on the amenity floor. All right, that's not going to work. What about a spa? That can get expensive for just a minute or 2 of cold water. So let's not pay for a spa day just for 1 minute in the cold bath. What's next? You could buy a cold plunge tub for your yard. That's $15,000 minimum. So maybe we don't want to work for several months just to save the money for the tub. What else? Oh, the cheap tub option. What about that? Maybe you live in an apartment and you can't do that. How about the bathtub? You only have a shower, not a tub. What are we going to do? How about you jump in the frigid cold lake? Oh, that's right. You live in Brazil. There are no frigid cold lakes where you live. Well, if all else fails, you can just take a cold shower. You see what I mean? Every other option was eliminated. So you're going with the last resort, the last possible option, and that is to just take a cold shower with the coldest water that comes out of the tap. That might not be the same as submerging yourself in 15-degree water, but it's something. If all else fails, just take a cold shower and you'll get some of the benefits of a cold plunge. Technology, don't get me started. We love it and hate it, right? We design our lives around technology, devices, stuff like that. But technology sometimes fails us. If you plan a movie night, but your internet goes down, what can you do? You can maybe stream a movie on your phone, but that can chew up your data. Over-the-air TV? Do you even have an antenna? Probably not. If all else fails, you can read a good book. If all else fails, you can have a conversation with the people you live with. Now that's a last resort, right? Today's song of the week is by Sheryl Crow. It was the song that made her famous in 1995, All I Wanna Do. The lyrics go like this: all I wanna do is have some fun until the sun comes up over Santa Monica Boulevard. Santa Monica Boulevard is a famous street in Los Angeles. It runs through Beverly Hills and West Hollywood. In the lyrics, she's sitting with someone drinking a beer at noon on a Tuesday, watching people go about their business on a weekday. But she and a stranger next to her both want something more exciting. The day and the night are ours, she sings. Good song, super famous in the late 1990s. Sheryl Crow, All I Wanna Do is the song of the week. Thank you, JR. Well, that's all for today. I'm dying to know, has anyone done a cold plunge, and what do you think about it? Let me know. Reply to today's Instagram stories or answer the question in the Facebook group. Our Instagram is @PlainEnglishPod. And to get into the Facebook group, just go to plainenglish.com/Facebook and it will take you right there. We'll be back on Monday with a new lesson. See you then.